Viktor Gyökeres is awesome. He's going to have massive expectations on his shoulders from minute one, right? Because, I mean, his goal output is not normal. Even for players that have been touted as top players in the Primeira Liga in Portugal that have come to the Prem and kind of flopped. Some have, some haven't. But none have been as good as this guy in the Portuguese top flight. So everything you're saying, I see it. The physicality, the recognition of the spaces, playing in between the lines, dropping back, combining. His passing is really good. His finishing is really good. He has so many tools in his back pocket. I've been so eager to see him take that next step in his career because the season before this one was also crazy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a new test, a more difficult test at Arsenal if it is to happen.
Of course. And Gyökeres, you're right. He did show that production over multiple seasons and is coming off over 60 goal contributions. That's crazy.
Wild.
Okay, so that's what these guys think. What does our good buddy Geoff Shreeves, our EPL correspondent, think about Viktor Gyökeres? Geoff, so good to see you. Is this the missing piece for the Gunners? Have they found their guy?
No, Ali, that is the $64 million question, isn't it? Well, actually, to be more accurate, the $75 million question. Is he the man? Is he the answer to all of their problems? Well, as you just said there, listening to Lahoud's excellent analysis and also Nico endorsing him as well, you've got to say he's of the pedigree. He's got the ability, he's got the goals, he's got the physicality. So he should be able to hit the ground running. And Arsenal have gone all out for him. You know, there's been some toing and froing on the deal, both sides kind of stamping their feet a little bit. But this deal is going to be done. I can't believe it won't be done. They want him to take him to Spain, their training camp ahead of their trip to Singapore, where they're playing a tournament there. But look, he's got all the attributes, Ali. He's got everything about him. I think one of the questions about him, strangely enough, were it was almost a little bit of, I don't know, embarrassment is the wrong word, but you know, don't forget, he was at Brighton and they let him go. They didn't see anything. He went. He passed through Brighton, absolutely zero effect. They passed up the opportunity to make a star of him. And when you look at the players that Brighton have sold and the incredible fees that they've generated, that put a question mark. The fact he went to Coventry City and he was playing in the Championship and he left there for just £23 million, a lot of clubs are saying, well, hang on, how can he be worth, because there was talk about him last summer, how can he be worth 100 million just one season later? So there's almost like a bit of, amongst the scouting departments of the Premier League clubs, well, have we got this wrong? You know, he was at Coventry City and nobody came in for him, so why now? But he's proven it with his goals, as you said, that incredible return, absolutely extraordinary, his numbers. But it's his all-round game as well, which is why I think he will suit the Gunners. But I don't know what they, you know, there's still a lot of love for Kai Havertz at Arsenal. So it's where he fits in. I think it'd be, I'm not sure that Arsenal will have a predefined front three, if you like, for next season. I think it'll be interchangeable depending on who else arrives as well. But look, for Arsenal fans, you know, most of them are quite literally, yes, they're delighted, but there's a large faction of them saying, about time too.
But Gyökeres is going to start, right? Like,
I don't know. I would imagine if you're paying that kind of money for a striker, he's going to start. Geoff, this feels like he can go one of two ways only, right? This Gyökeres idea has ballooned and ballooned and ballooned and ballooned. He's either going to flop, be like a Darwin Núñez case where he killed it in Portugal and then goes to the Prem and is unable to adapt and perform to the level that's expected of him, especially for the price tag, or he keeps on showing the worth and the balloon just keeps on growing and it never bursts.
Nico, I think you're describing me over the summer. I've just ballooned and ballooned and ballooned.
Geoff, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, look, first of all, when I say, of course he will start, but it's who will play left, who will play right. I think, you know, and he can drift out wide as well himself. And there'll be certain times in certain games, maybe Kai Havertz comes on and for different reasons is the more focal point. So what I'm saying is I don't think it is set in stone for every second of every game that Arsenal play. Do I see it as a straight dichotomy? Will it either be a super sensational success or an absolute flop? No, and also I'd certainly back the former rather than the latter. again, because of his pedigree. He might take some time to bed in, but it's not as though he hasn't played in this country. So I think that's less of a fear. I also think that he is somebody who can, you know, he's adaptable. You can see as well, he is so keen for this move. Okay, that doesn't guarantee anything, but I would expect him to hit the ground running. And to be frank, though, Arsenal had to do some business. Look what Chelsea are doing, look what Liverpool are doing, look what Manchester City are doing, look what Tottenham are doing. Really impressive stuff from Tottenham right now. So it's
Geoff,
revving up to be a really, really intriguing Premier League season.
when we talk about success for Viktor Gyökeres, how much is that linked to Arsenal's success? Because can we get a case, for example, like a Kylian Mbappe, where honestly his numbers and his output were really top class for Real Madrid, but because Real Madrid didn't win anything, we're saying, there's so many problems with Mbappe at Real Madrid. If this guy scores like 20 goals in the Prem, that's an incredible number to put up in your first season in the Prem. But if Arsenal don't win anything, then there's going to be questions, I would imagine.
Nico, I think there's questions. If Arsenal don't win anything, there's definitely questions. They need to win something. They need to turn these second places into first places or a significant trophy. And I mean a significant trophy. But yeah, look, if Gyökeres, let's say he scores 20 goals plus in his first season, but then Arsenal's defensive stats go down, then that's not on him. So he would still be deemed a success, he personally, but he would be part of a group. So if they fail, then he is part of that failure as well. But I don't think Arsenal fans are looking at that right now. They're looking at, you know, the new signings that are coming in, some exciting signings. This team is having a real makeover. And as I said just now, I don't think they're anywhere finished yet. I think they're looking to do more and more business in this window.
I want to go back to last time Geoff was here and we were having this conversation. The Premier League schedule came out and we all said the same thing. Holy crap. Arsenal's start to the season, it's tough. So Shreevesy, how significant or how important is it now that they're set to get their guy in Viktor Gyökeres for Mikel Arteta to deliver from the word go, given that they play, United, City, Liverpool, Newcastle? It gets bigger and bigger with all the names.
Yeah, Lahoud, you're spot on as usual, but Arsenal needs to get going, period. Never mind new signings. You know, that is a really, really tough start to the season. But equally, if they get some decent results early on, that brings momentum against big name players. So you really are there looking at, okay, if we can beat them at the start of the season, then we are in a good place. You know, you can start the ball rolling very, very quickly indeed. So if you manage to do that, then you're up and running. But I think they've got the toughest start in the Premier League.
Yeah, without a doubt, Geoff. And, you know, to me, I think the pressure more is so on Mikel Arteta than Viktor Gyökeres. I mean, this is a guy who needs to deliver Arsenal a trophy and fast. They've got a lot of players coming in. You said that they might have even more business in the works as well. But when we talk about Viktor Gyökeres in particular and the type of goal output that he needs to have in the Premier League, or at least what we're expecting, if he can even put up a fraction of the numbers that he did across all comps for Sporting CP, Arsenal are in good shape. But we've set the over-under at 19.5 Premier League goals for Viktor Gyökeres. Are you taking the over or are you taking the under?
Well, I'm an optimist, so I'm going to take the over.
Okay. I'm taking the over as well. Had we set it higher, I don't know if I am, but 19.5, I'm taking the over.
You're taking the over.
Ali, that's it. I'll be interested to see.
I'm taking over, but if it's anywhere in that ballpark range, that's an extraordinary first season in the Prem.
Wow.
Bro,
And that's just Premier League goals.
17 goals in the
you
Prem.
put up 17,
If you put up
absolutely.
17 goals in the Prem, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is, you're fulfilling a goal-scoring quota that Arsenal, frankly, needs. So I also am an optimist, and I really like Gyökeres, and I hope this isn't a flop, and I hope it's a massive success because he's a very good footballer.
So are you taking the under?
Nico.
I'm taking the under.
Nico.
I'm going under Lahoud. I'm taking the under. Of course I am.
I didn't know that's what
Nico, you're desperately hoping this goes well because you put it all on the line. And I honestly think that Mikel Arteta was watching. He was undecided. Sesko or Gyökeres. He saw your segment where you very eloquently made the case. So, in fact, I would tell all Arsenal fans this entire move is entirely on Nico Cantor's head.